Hi, I'm Donna Spector. I'm thrilled today because I have the founder of Pink Truck Designs here with me, Dana Babbin. Welcome, Dana. Thank you so much for saying yes today for our interview.
No other place I'd rather be on Saturday morning. Got me out of the house early.
Thank
the kids are otherwise occupied.
Thank you. So Dana, I grew up in a household where it was fostered to treat others with dignity and respect, and I have tried to live my life like that and in my work. That's been my philosophy. And your business, your mission, and your philosophy so resonated with me because of that.
Aww.
And I'm so thrilled that you said yes today. So can you tell the viewers a little bit about the philosophy and mission behind Pink Truck Designs?
I will, and
Yes.
first I just want to say thank you for that, because it does mean a lot to me when people read the mission, because sometimes if I'm doing an event and have a table there or something, people don't really, like I'll display this little thing that kind of tells the story and the mission behind the brand, but a lot of people don't read it, and I really love it when a lot of people do read it.
Yeah.
But obviously you read it and investigated the brand and its background. So thank you for that, because
Welcome.
that is near and dear to my heart. So, and I love that people just want to wear the designs because they think they're cute too, of course.
And they're adorable. And we're going to show everybody what all the designs are.
But essentially, so I worked for many years as a prosecutor in Massachusetts, and my focus ended up being what's called internet crimes against children.
Okay.
I was kind of the first what's called ICAC prosecutor, Internet Crimes Against Children prosecutor in Massachusetts in the very early 2000s, when still social media was relatively new. And what happened is, as social media evolved and we were investigating online crime, child pornography cases, child abuse, sexploitation cases, etc., we also saw a rise in the incidence of bullying with children. So we had a lot of sexting cases and other types of bullying cases that we were having to spend time on, which we were happy to do, but they are also a lot of work, and we thought we really need to work more on preventative efforts so that we don't end up here, because we don't want to lock up children for a lot of these cases that we're seeing. So I spent a great deal of time working on anti-bullying initiatives, working on a diversion program to get kids diverted from the criminal justice system into some sort of arrangement between the prosecutor's office and the child's school, whereby they would do community service or whatnot, so as to avoid having even a charge on their record, even though they wouldn't, even if, how do I say this? So if a child at the time, or even nowadays, a lot of times is caught engaging in sexting or other types of bullying, and it rises to the level of a crime that we call in Massachusetts criminal harassment, they can end up charged, and then even if the prosecutor decides to dismiss the case and give the child some probationary measures to comply with, that child still has a charge on his or her record that can be found, even though it ends up in dismissal and no finding of guilt. So I was trying to help, I and others, we were trying to create these diversionary tactics that would allow kids to avoid that charge on their record.
I see.
But while I worked on that, I saw how awful the environment was on social media for kids.
It can be very scary.
And
It's
how
hard to be a kid
unprepared they were. I mean, that generation especially, our kids now have some preparation. I mean, I have twin 9-year-olds now. One of them has already been solicited for nude pictures. Oh, yes. And it doesn't come as a surprise to me, because I still work in the field. I consult now through the Department of Justice to the commanders of what's called the Internet Crimes
That
Against.
breaks my heart. Children should just be able to be.
But at least my kids were prepared in knowing how to deal with it and what to say. Not that it's a good thing, but I think we have to face the fact that we have these computers in our hands now. In the old days, in the early 2000s, I would tell parents in internet safety meetings, please don't let your child take the computer to their bedroom. The computer's everywhere now because it's in their hand.
That's right.
So now we have to just teach them to use it. We have to be very diligent in monitoring, but also teaching them
Responsibility.
how to respond, being responsible,
Yeah.
a responsible user,
Right.
and knowing how to respond when you're faced with certain things that just, I say, if it makes you feel yucky inside, like to the
right,
little kids,
right.
if you trust your gut, go
Right.
tell someone.
Right. And the kids they're being sought out, so it's not something that they're knowingly engaging in. So, if they
Right.
get a predator out there, but
Yeah.
but
No, they know exactly what they're doing, and just like with child abusers, pedophiles, and hebephiles, which are those who target pubescent children, they will go places where there are children.
Right.
So, and it gives a bad name to the people that are in those fields for a good reason, the right reason.
Right.
But so by the same token, they're now going online. Where are kids gathering online? And I try to explain to my kids, I'm like, because they don't want to believe. My daughter had something happen last week, and this guy that was talking to her, I say guy, I really, you don't ever know who it is,
Right.
Is talking to her and asking her to, just engaging in a conversation with her where I said, I need you to respond to him and say, I'm 9 years old, right?
Right.
Because that's a tactic we will use often as the undercover police officers I work with will use.
Okay.
It gives them an out, like
Right.
it gives the bad guy an out.
Right.
Because a normal person who's an adult would say,
Yes.
I'm not going to talk
enough.
to a 9-year-old
right
now on
right.
social media.
Right. Because they know it's
I'll go
inappropriate.
play
That's
this
where-
game with an adult.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah.
And see what happens. I bet he disappears because he's probably legit. Most
Right.
people are legit.
Right.
But if he's not legit,
Right.
he's going to continue to talk to you.
Right.
And it's going to escalate. And it may take a year, but he is going to use grooming tactics
Right.
to win your affection, your praise, your devotion. So we go through these lessons, and my kids are only 9. And, so that's one thing I was witnessing and that I worked on as a prosecutor. And then I saw just they lose a sense because they're behind a screen instead of face to face
Right.
of the impact of their words. So they get comfortable leaving comments that are either misconstrued, that don't have the affective tone and demeanor
Right.
that you get in one-on-one,
Right.
face-to-face engagements. That is when they're commenting on social media. So they lose that aspect of it, of the communication. And they also lose an appreciation for how words can impact other people. And not just the person they're saying the comment to, but the other people watching.
Right. Yeah.
So
right.
you're
True.
essentially in a big room, and if you're talking to someone on Instagram or TikTok, whoever who has 3,000 followers, or as my daughter follows people, 1.2 million followers, your comment, is that comment going to be misconstrued? Is it going to have an effect on those people? What might that effect be? How could it be taken?
Right.
So thinking in advance, and I know there's all these approaches to working with kids now in internet safety to make them, before they post, think before you post. Is it helpful? Is it inspirational?
Right.
Is it positive? If it isn't, don't bother.
Right.
And it's so very true.
Right. It's very
we
true. And
feel
there are
a
adults
need to
that
comment.
Right. And adults need to take that.
And that is where
into
pink truck
consideration
comes
as well.
into play. Because, and I say that, Donna, because when I first wanted to make this line to send this message of, listen, stop judging other people and spreading your judgment through social media and other means. Let's embrace each other. Let's focus on what we have in common instead of
Let's
what
lift each other up.
Yes, and even with our differences, let's celebrate it.
Right.
Why
Right.
why are we having such a hard time these days?
Hey, I know the atmosphere is very negative, and you are a
Yes.
bright, shining spot. You're
Yes.
the line here, and it's
Well,
just such a
like-
great message.
I hope so. So it's instead of writing like "be nice to each other" on a T-shirt, like what's a nice way? So
Right.
it's we want everyone to feel comfortable being as unique as a pink truck.
Cute.
And there's a reason I chose the pink truck emblem as,
so
as
tell us
that
that
message.
story. That's a great story.
So as I was, while I was a prosecutor, I had the twin girls, and soon after that, the commute was very difficult to get home in time to relieve the nanny. So I quit and I became a consultant to the ICAC commanders through the DOJ. But in the meantime, I'm raising my kids predominantly, just doing the other job part-time. And I would find that they would freak out with joy when I would push the 2 carts, push one, pull one, through a department store when we would go by the aisles where they would have the truck t-shirts.
Oh, cute.
Anytime they saw the trucks, the cranes, the snow plows, the trains, they would burst, even before they had a lot of words, right, or any words. And so they would get all excited. Yes. So I would buy them a lot of those t-shirts.
Yes.
And unfortunately, those options were exclusive to the boys section. So I said, I don't know why it's so, we have to use this stereotype. It's one of many stereotypes in life that exist. Unfortunately, that the girls can't have the truck options in their section. I don't know. And the boys can't have the paint. It's a color, you know?
Right,
it's a color. Are you afraid of it? Be
helping change
yourself.
the mindset a little bit.
Yep.
Yes.
So pink is not a color, it's a mindset. It says it somewhere. On
Oh,
one
does
of my,
it?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I picked up on that. I
Yes.
didn't even know.
Yeah. So, so you have to think of pink in the pink truck pink as a mindset instead of a
I love
color.
that.
So be yourself and help others in achieving whatever it is that makes them tick, that makes them unique. And the world will be so much better, right?
It would. Well, one step at a time, and this is great. This is
Yes.
terrific. So what are some of the designs that you have?
Oh, so I started out obviously with one design, and it was the truck, and it's modeled after a 55 Ford. Am I wearing it? Oh, yes, I'm wearing it.
It's very
I
cute.
never know what design
Very
I'm
charming.
on. So, or even Chevys of that genre, that era look similar. But after that, I don't even remember what came next because, so what I was going to say, sorry. What I was saying earlier when you brought up like the adults even need to learn this lesson, like think before you post. And that was the whole point when I launched the brand. I'm not launching it as a children's brand exclusively because children learn from our example.
That's correct.
So if
Your role
we're
models.
going to, if we're going, we got to walk the walk, right? So we have to be willing to wear the message,
Right.
and then they'll be willing to wear the message. I
Right.
think it's really important if, I'll watch, for example, kids come up to my booth and get excited about something, and that's an opportunity for the parents. I watch their reaction, especially the dads, to see how they treat it, and it's really kind of interesting to watch from a sociocultural perspective.
Yes. Right, bet.
But people will surprise you. Oh my gosh. And that's where the whole stereotyping thing comes into play. I can't judge or stereotype as people walk up to my booth because
Right. Well, that's
they
the
have
message you're trying to do, right?
Right.
Like I
so
can't judge,
it
right?
works with me too. Like
Yeah.
we have to challenge ourselves, all of us.
Sure.
In think before we post, think before we
Right.
judge.
Right.
So it's not just something
It's a
I'm
daily
saying,
thing that
Yes.
we all have to work on.
remind
Yeah,
ourselves.
right.
Yes, and I even make it a point to try now to, if someone might not be the type of person that I normally would say, come join me, I really try to change my thinking around that, and
That's terrific.
because there's so much I can learn from stepping outside my comfort zone.
Sure. Right.
And
they
have
say
learned.
when you do step out of your comfort zone and you say that yes, your horizons expand, you learn so much more.
Yes.
We'll learn so much more from each
This
other.
is not even the extent of the designs, because in the last 6 months or a year, I've had 2 other designs launch, and I had this made before that. But
Very cute.
so yeah, there's a Jeep-like design, a little Airstream camper, a golf cart, the fire engine, and there is a difference between an engine and a fire truck. I learned that when I interviewed one of my pink truckers. He was
had no idea.
a firefighter. I used to do interviews like this too for a while. This is like a mountain bike-ish looking bike.
Which is what I'm wearing.
Yes,
What
so
design
you're a
is it?
cyclist. So
Cyclist? Okay.
yes, it's wicked cute. The cruiser, because obviously I come from law enforcement. The digger, which I love.
It's cute.
My family's, my dad did construction as I grew up. The Muddin truck, which my daughter Dennehy, who's known to pink truckers as Righty, that was Righty's
Wonderful.
kind of
Love it.
design, because she helped design it with me.
Oh, that's fun.
The Tough, which is a barbell, that's one design that was inspired locally. I can tell you that story. the motorcycle, which is
Love
the
all
last
those.
two designs that we did in the last year are on top of each other. Okay. So the pink pup, which is locally
love it.
inspired by
Yes.
Hopkintonians, and we can
I love that.
give a
What's the
shout out
story?
to the local group that inspired that. So this is inspired by Canty's Underdog Scholarship Fund, which is named in honor of a young man named Brad Canty, whom we lost too soon. A tribute to Brad is through this design. So Brad's two favorite things, or two of his favorite things, I guess, were plaid designs, anything plaid, and his puppy. So he had a little pup like this.
Wonderful.
So it was a challenge of a design to make, but it was a lot of fun.
That
and
is a
so
great
these were, I'm
design.
on my way to Marty's right now, so if anyone's interested and they're
Getting
watching
that
this,
one.
go to Marty's, because Marty's partnered with Pink Truck to make this in honor of Brad Canty's, the scholarship fund now held in his name. So please go to Marty's
What a
and
great
show your support.
community. I love
These are
that.
going to be there soon. Well, within minutes, I guess. And then the other design in the last year that we did, there was a gentleman that was on the Dana-Farber running team, and he approached me probably around this time last
It's a
year.
great one for Hopkinton.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So he was
Started
a runner,
off.
and he was running for the Dana-Farber running team, and I had just finished my round of treatments at Dana-Farber for my cancer at the time, and he said, in light of your connection with Dana-Farber and my connection with the running team there and your recent battle with cancer, why don't we do a cancer-inspired design for people who run in the marathon? So that's
Love
how
it.
Pink Racer came
I
about.
love
And
it.
if you look closely, it's very subtle, but you can see the little pink ribbons on the toes of the sneakers. So you're not wearing a
I
huge,
love
I know. So you don't have to wear this huge pink ribbon, which there's nothing wrong
there's
with that.
no,
But
no.
some people don't want to wear the huge
Right,
ribbon.
right.
So this is a way to just very
That's
subtly
perfect. Right.
say,
I love that
hey,
design.
I'm a runner, and I also support
Very
those who are
clever.
fighting cancer. I mean, because
Very
all of us
clever.
know someone who's fighting cancer, right? So
Absolutely, we
cancer
do.
ribbons on that, and that's our latest design.
Very interesting. I love all the designs. They're very charming and darling, but they're rugged too for the
Yeah,
guys.
they're
but
little.
yeah.
Our look is a little bit retro.
Yeah, I love
so
these
the cruiser
cruisers,
is a
too.
vintage cruiser, and
Right.
the truck is a vintage truck.
Right.
So yeah,
And the
I
material is nice too. I
and
like.
it's
I like
a little
the,
vintage, like the
that
Dream
sweatshirt.
hoodie. This is our most popular hoodie. This is an extra small, but it's for women and it's fitted. Although I have quite a few boys who buy this, young boys.
Yeah, yeah.
And it looks great, but it's a vintage look, burnout kind of fabric. And then I don't know. We can go through some of the products if you want. I did bring some,
Yes,
and
yes.
you're
so
wearing some.
I'm wearing some, and
So we
I know
started
that-
very young.
Yeah,
So this
very
is an
cute.
example of a onesie.
Adorable.
And some of the things come in other colors. Most of my line is on a charcoal gray.
Looks great with
Consistency and
pink.
branding, and
Yes.
it looks great with branding. Yeah. So I was at a police event yesterday selling the cruiser line. I did. Thank you very much to the NESPAC conference for having me. You guys killed it, and I sold a ton of stuff.
Great.
So it was before 10:30 in the morning because cops start early. And I was there.
They
set
never
up
sleep,
and-
actually, right?
Oh my gosh!
And
I was
firefighters,
in
they-
Connecticut
yeah.
early, and by 10 I hadn't even set up, and they were flying off the
2 hours, though.
But so I had the cruiser stuff with me, so in the car.
Look
so
how cute
this
that is.
I don't know if you can see. It's so hard to capture the pink on camera.
It's a beautiful pink.
It's a beautiful-
not too like bubblegummy. It's
yeah,
just
it's
a
not
very
too bright.
subtle.
Yeah, it's
very pretty.
Yeah, and I think a lot gravitate toward it who like pink.
You
but
have from infant all the way through adults.
Yes, so this is a boys or a kids unisex T-shirt with a camper on a charcoal gray. Nice. Here you can feel it's
Very
soft,
nice.
right?
Oh yeah,
So
very
it's important.
soft.
You can't
Yeah.
see softness
yes,
on a
you cannot
website.
see softness, but it is very soft.
Yes, so I make my whole family
Comfy.
wear everything before I
Yeah.
decide to source it.
So
'cause
it's family approved.
the golf shirts were the hardest thing because my dad, my brothers, my husband, they were so finicky and picky about the golf shirts. But
So
eventually,
you brought one, right?
I did bring
Yeah,
some of
I
those.
see that.
And those I've done through custom orders. So essentially, people will just write to me on Facebook or email or wherever and say, "Can I get a golf shirt next time you do them?" Because I haven't gotten around to putting them on the website.
Okay.
But
you
this
do
is an
custom.
example
Oh, yeah,
of the
very
men's
nice.
golf shirt that's mid-weight. So
I
it's
love
I call it the
that.
office polo.
Very clever with the golf cart and
Yes,
the golf shirt.
it's wicked
Yes,
cute when you
yes.
see it on people. And the women's, which has a different little V-neck there. And then this is the one that my dad and my brother insisted on. It's 100% polyester, so it's moisture wicking. They're both performance wear, but this, crazy.
So it's brother approved.
It's brother approved.
For
He
playing
loves
golf.
it. Yes. And then this is just an example that I can source other colors too. So, and actually Marty's is going to have some of these starting next week.
Excellent.
Website, pinktruckdesigns.com.
Excellent.
It's not the best website. I am going to build a new website, and I know I'm starting from scratch again right after Christmas.
2020 is going to be the year.
Yes,
For the
hopefully.
wonderful website.
If you go to my website and it frustrates you, just call me, please. A lot of people, believe it or not, call me. There's a number on the website, and if you have to leave a message, I'll call you back as soon as I can.
So somebody would not be bothering you if they called you.
No,
So
and they
call
probably
her.
will have to leave a message because
Okay.
I get so much spam on that number that
Okay.
I usually let it ring and go to voicemail, and then
Okay.
I will call them back. I
right,
get a
right.
message on my phone, even if I'm
So
away
call,
from the office.
leave a message. It's okay.
Yes,
Dana wants
please
to hear
do.
from you.
It's actually a fun voicemail if you listen. You can't
Lovely-
see it very well
lovely,
where you
handsome
are.
men back
But
here.
yeah, these guys
So
over
tell us
here,
about
these
this.
are just some people that are influencers, I would say. I have a few others that I probably should have put on here, but I couldn't fit them. So the most popular ones that people locally would know are Matt Barnes and Chris Sale, even though their name should be this way. These are they in the dugout at Fenway.
Very cool.
A local pink trucker, you know who you are, surprised me last year and sent that picture to me right before the whole World Series.
What a fun
went
gift
down.
to
And
get.
then they won the World Series,
Wow,
and I
they
got
brought
to
him
say,
good luck.
Boston Red Sox World Series pitchers, and they were winners. Ah,
Very exciting.
yeah. So
is
that was
very
really exciting that
Yes.
they held up their shirts in the dugout for someone who just supported the brand and has bought for his whole family, and I just adore him for it. So and this is Sarah Blakely, who invented Spanx, and I just ran into her and we had a little exchange, and it was great at an event. Blaine
I love
McIndoe was in an Amazon series, and she's wearing, this is during, I had to screenshot this is during the show, that in a scene.
Oh, wow.
She's wearing the pink bike, so I just screenshot it and put in
That is
and
really quite something.
so, and then Carly and Martina are rising vocalists. They're amazing musicians. They're twins. So they're
That's quite an array of people that you have there. As you had mentioned in a prior conversation that we had, that you like to support some causes, and some of the proceeds go to.
yes. So I haven't
different
paid
places,
myself
right?
a dime yet, much to my husband's dismay. I work on the side in another job that provides some income for me, and I get to do this kind of as my side hustle for fun and my way to pay it forward. So I've donated to a number of different causes. Prior to my bout with cancer, I was donating to a group of scientists I work with through the ICACs that I've worked with since 2003, who are amazing scientists who build these incredibly savvy tools we use to investigate online crimes against children. They have essentially led to the rescue of children worldwide. I mean,
that's amazing.
So many,
Wow.
because they help the police prioritize their cases in this field, which there's sex crimes versus traditional child abuse from a police officers or prosecutors or victim witness advocate perspective, is that you don't have the child often in front of you. You have a picture
I see.
or video, and you can't say to the child, this will never happen again, unless you can find that child. So finding the children is the hardest part. I mean, the National
needle
Center
in a
of Missing and
haystack.
Exploited Children, is involved a lot, and we have what's called the CVIT program to try to identify things in the background of pictures and videos to help us find these kids. But the pictures and videos are contraband, so you can't show them to anyone. It has to be shown to law enforcement or people who have congressional authority to look at them. So that library is exclusive to those people. So that makes it hard to find them. So many things, but these scientists at UMass Amherst, I'm going to give a shout out to Brian Levine, because he started it in 2003 and he has stuck with it. He and his scientists could go so many places and make so much more money, but they have stuck to this. And so at the beginning of Pink Truck, my commitment of my donations was to his team. It doesn't even really have a name or anything like that.
What a great cause,
they
though.
just
My gosh.
devote a lot of their time, sometimes personal time, to developing these tools that we use to narrow down the cases and prioritize them and pick the ones that we're going to hit the door on, develop a search warrant, hit the door, find the child, hopefully. And that's how they've been able to rescue a whole bunch of kids. But they've done very well lately. So Brian called me and said, we got some good money from the feds, nice grant money. Don't feel like you have to donate to us anymore. But at the beginning, they were great because they're like, we'll take 10 cents. We'll take anything.
Right.
And that's what I needed because I was new and I didn't have a lot of money to donate. And I still don't have a ton of money to donate. I mean, it's pennies compared to what big corporations do.
But you know what? You're putting yourself out there, and you've created such a wonderful brand with such a great mission. It's such a positive thing that's being put out into the world. It will come back. Things will happen.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it does come full circle, and I get the chance to be a woman-owned business with kids and another job.
So what's the vision in the?
Well, I mean, I would love to say that eventually this line catches the eye of someone who can really blow it up, because I just can't. I don't have the resources, the time, the money. So it is going to remain a side hustle until and unless someone sees the promise and can say, look, we have the infrastructure to do this. Whatever big company that is, why don't you license to us the use of your designs? You work on the creative with your artist, because I have so many designs people ask me to do.
Right. I gave her one earlier.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Guitars.
Yeah, and it wasn't the first time. Yes, a music-inspired design would be good. So, and what I say to people is now, because I get asked to do designs a lot, and it's just very time-consuming and expensive. So, but I very much appreciate it, and I want to do every design. If you know I can sell at least 200 of them right off the bat, whether it's through a store that wants to wholesale them, or retail, you want to do pre-orders through a group that you have, you know, kind of like we did with the Pink Pup for the Canty Scholarship Fund. That's great. I'm happy to do it, but otherwise, it's a risk every time we do a new design. So, and I don't. Again, I'm not very good at the marketing. I don't have a really great website yet.
But you're working on that. You're working on that. It's going to happen. Wonderful. So let me ask you this, because Dana does live in Hopkinton, this Hopkinton website.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you if your family or you had a favorite event or place that you guys like to visit in town.
Oh, we have a lot, but I'd say, and it changes as the kids get older.
Yep.
But one that has stood the test of time is Sandy Beach
and
Lake Maspinock. And of course, that's what drew me to Hopkinton, actually. My husband and I were living in Boston, and we looked for land out here to build a house, and we were in Upton one day, and as we drove back to 495, we went over the causeway, and I looked to my right and saw the lake with the houses on the lake, and I said, oh my gosh, take a right. Take a, whatever the next right is, take it. And he did. It was 2 seconds later. Steered onto Downey Street, and we bought the only house for sale in that area.
That's a great story.
It was kind of funny because I was working. We love our community. So the lake community.
It's a really nice community.
Great. I have made
everybody's very close knit over there.
Friends. Yes, we have a village that is unlike any other village, and we have so much fun. And there is no judgment. Everything goes. It's no keeping up with the Joneses. It's a lot of just really good-willed, good-natured people. We do a ton together, and all ages, all kinds. So Sandy Beach and the lake environment is really what is my favorite part of Hopkinton.
That's great.
I'd say.
I love that. I love that whole story. It's wonderful.
Oh, there's so many lake stories, right? For those of you.
What happens at the lake stays at the lake.
That's for sure. There's a lot of it.
Well, Dana, in today's environment of negativity that's out there, Pink Truck Designs is a breath of fresh air.
Oh, you should market for me. Well, I guess you are. Right?
Well, you know what? I am so thrilled to celebrate the message that you have.
I appreciate it.
Of being authentic and true to yourself. and I'm
love
going to
it.
buy some Christmas presents.